गया देख।
ऐसा क्या हो गया यार? मतलब I genuinely feel like इतना clickbait तो माफ है, इससे तो बहुत ज्यादा करते हैं लोग.
हाँ, और we can promise them that we'll watch the rest of the movies
हाँ ये
and
कर सकते हैं. श्रेया ने जो बोला था that we can do that,
हाँ.
let's do it like a part one. We are starting out with the 3 most popular sort of films and then we'll dig deeper. I think that's a good
Right.
idea.
And guys, we're live on YouTube. And before we start today's episode, I just want to give a few reminders to our audience of what's gonna happen today. One second. Yes. First of all, this is subscriber only chat. This is subscribe. Can you check if this is subscriber only chat? Person in my room.
can a non-subscriber try to chat with us?
Yeah,
And
no,
fail.
dirty non-subscribers are not allowed over here. So
Mud
that's
bloods.
how mud bloods. That's I love how they went with the M word in the magical universe. It's not. Is it subscriber only chat? Yeah, it is subscriber only chat. So this is great. So everyone who is chatting is subscribed. If you are not able to chat, you will have to subscribe and then wait for 5 minutes for you to be able to chat, because I don't care about any of you dirty non-subscribers. Welcome to episode 60 of the Discontent Podcast. I'm Aditya Khanna. With me are Himanshu Arya
Hi.
and Bharat Misra.
Hello.
And we are going to be discussing the cinema of Asghar Farhadi. But really, we're going to be discussing 3 films that we've seen and that everyone seems to have seen, which are in order: A Separation, The Salesman, and A Hero. So these are the 3 films. A Hero just came out, and I watched it today. All of us watched it this week. We're going to try to keep it a non-spoiler discussion, at least for A Hero. The other 2 films we can discuss in detail. Bharat also saw About Elle today, so we
About
can
Ellie.
discuss about Ellie. Maybe we can discuss that one as well. Meanwhile, before we start the discussion, there are a few questions over here which maybe we can figure out. Anish Borkar's question is, how can I join the Discontent WhatsApp group? Now, this is something a lot of people have been messaging us on the Discontent Instagram. Even privately, people message us this. And the reason we had blocked it for a while is because, firstly, the group gets too crowded, right? And we don't want it to become too large, and then the conversations just sort of are not of any value to anybody. So we wanted to keep it like that, but we do want to get more people into the group eventually. And for that, we are sort of planning to put some kind of a paywall on this channel, as we have discussed. And what the shape or the form of that will be, whether it will be like a buy me a coffee thing or a YouTube membership, any of that, we don't know so far. But as soon as we do, we will let you know. But I can assure you that will be sometime very soon, because if you've noticed, we have gotten regular with our podcast. So we are shifting our attention to keeping the podcast regular and growing the channel a little bit, apart from our main jobs.
I think what we are quite sure of one thing is that existing like people on that group, they will be there, right? I mean, this applies to people going forward, I feel.
Right.
Whatever that paywall is,
Correct. Yes. So we will be doing that, and so we will figure that out as we move along. But until then, you can choose to comment on the videos, and that's how you can talk amongst each other, right? And that's a fun thing. And if you want to comment on the live chat, you'll have to subscribe, because, as I said, no more dirty subscribers. No dirty non-subscribers. Sorry, your subscribers are very clean. With that long intro, we can get into the discussion of this week. What do you guys want to discuss first? A Separation, because that's like the easiest one to get out of the way first.
Yeah.
I'm just still thinking that this is our 60th episode and we just brushed past it, man. It feels like a big deal. Don't you get it? It's not.
60th episode, right?
This is the 60th episode, yeah.
That's a good thing, na. It sounds.
हाँ यार, but I feel like कि अभी like we should also have some shame ना. हम लोग का podcast 3 साल पुराना है, ठीक है? So actually even more now. हाँ, 3 साढ़े 3 साल पुराना है. So we should have had a lot more than 60 now. Because I remember, I'll just share this right now, okay? But when we had started our podcast, like some 10-20 episodes in, right? Around that time, a lot of people had started their podcast. Like
Yeah.
podcast had just started becoming like a big thing and exploding. So there are some people who I don't like very much, and they started their podcast also. And I was like, fucking, this is annoying as shit. So and then saw like a few some time back that they had reached the 100th episode, and I felt so bad that I'm like, I will not celebrate any fucking landmark until we at least reach 100. So Himanshu, control your emotions, okay? Don't get so excited also. Don't keep that
Cool.
cake back in the fridge.
Cool. Acha, ठीक है. Let's talk about this one, yeah, a separation,
Huh.
because I think that's the one which most people have seen,
Yes.
and it's the most like the popular one, and it's also the I think um it's the most universally acclaimed one. So
Correct.
what's happening is if I remember correctly, क्योंकि थोड़ा time हो गया,
Hmm.
is uh the opening scene na. Do you guys remember it?
Just
Yes.
just hold for a second. I'll just give people the context of this film in case those who haven't seen this film, they can a
I'll tell.
separation. हाँ बोल दे. बराबर.
So basically, A Separation is a 2011 film, and it is directed by obviously Asghar Farhadi, and it is essentially about a middle class couple who's separating, right? And how it sort of affects everybody in the family. There's a daughter who's involved. There's an older, almost invalid, like he cannot move, the father of the uh, the guy, and
Right.
how all of them are affected by their separation. And there's also, it's almost like a Rashomon style story of who's telling the truth, because there's a legal dispute at the center of the film. And I think without spoiling any more of the plot, this is essentially what it is. It is about a separation, how it affects everybody involved, and how there is an idea of who is telling the truth and what is the actual truth, which the film grapples
Correct.
very
Yeah.
much.
Himanshu.
Then are we not spoiling a
No,
separation?
I feel like separation we can spoil. It's been a while. It's been literally 11 years. I feel like
Yeah.
separation is one film we can spoil.
Definitely.
Most people would have seen it. So yeah.
Hmm.
Himanshu, go on with what
Yeah.
you were saying, the opening scene.
हाँ तो एक fun fact type था. I don't know if it's very obvious to people. I don't know if people have spoken about it, but the opening scene of a separation, it involves the husband and the wife sitting in front of a sort of a divorce council, and they're talking about all the issues that they're facing with the marriage and why it's required for them to separate. That opening scene has been copied by
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, Talwar.
Ye-
Talwar mein na?
No.
no, Tannu Veds Mannu Part 2
I
has
haven't
copied
seen
that
that,
opening scene.
but
It's
It's
not a
the
copy. It's completely different.
this sitting right there, they're talking the same shit. It's about a divorce, but the only stupid part that they do is right after Kangana Ranaut, bitches about Madhavan to the psychiatrist, not the divorce council.
Yeah.
The doctor asks people to come in and take Madhavan away, and he gets like locked up in the ward. That's the joke that they. But
Yeah.
the rest of the thing is quite similar.
But
I remembered it.
that scene has been used by a lot of films. Huh? Talwar mein there is a scene with Tabu and Irfan Khan in front of a divorce, and it's like framed also like that. Also, in Shaitan there is a scene like that. So a lot of films have this sitting in front of divorce person, divorce official to
But movie ka opening
professional
hai,
breakup.
samajh rahe ho?
So,
They both start like the same way, no? Just
Yeah.
sitting in on two chairs and just talking. So okay, I'll tell you one thing that I remember from a separation. Like it happens in a separation. It also happens in a hero, that we see the events happen first, and then they talk about the events later in the movie, like which we saw just like half an hour ago. Okay, and they try to create all the characters, and they try to muddy up your own memories. Like, and by the and if a separation ke beech mein na, when the daughter only asks, na, did you like actually push her hard?
Yeah.
You I think you pushed her, and I was like, I just saw it. I just saw him push her, and
Hmm.
I can't tell if he
That was,
actually.
yeah.
अगर और मैं मतलब I would have had to go back and check. उस समय I was watching it on a screen, so I couldn't. But I would have had to go back and check na कि if he did or not. And it's
Yeah.
I don't know if it's smart. I don't know if it's planned. But how the fuck do you write it in the script? How
Yeah.
do you write that I will show the events and
Dude,
then I'll question the
yeah.
events
The
so that
same,
they
yeah.
can't tell. The audience can't remember. How do you do that?
This guy did the same thing. Noah Baumbach in Marriage Story. First of all,
Hmm.
Marriage Story also begins the same way. They're sitting in front
Correct.
of this guy, and they're telling. They said, although they're telling different things, not the same.
मैरिज स्टोरी में तो वो होता है ना, नरेशन होता है ना पहले, व्हाट दे राइट अबाउट.
They write and they're
हाँ.
narrating it to the guy, the counselor,
Right.
and she says, "I'm not going to read what I wrote, whatever."
Hmm.
And also, it presents facts, certain events that happen. For example, fixing the child's seat that he's not fixed in a long time, or that she's drunk. She's slightly drunk on wine one night when he comes to pick the kid up, and all of these things, small details that you saw, get picked up by the lawyers. She's a bad mother because she was drunk. Oh, he hasn't even fixed the child seat on the in his car, jeopardizing his safety. So this going like first showing a series of events and then making us question and the characters question those things. I think that even and Asghar Farhadi has done it in different films as well. Even in The Salesman, there is an event in the center of it, which goes through all kinds of.
Can we talk about a salesman in
Yeah,
spoilers?
we'll get to it. हाँ, but if you have some.
बोल नहीं भरत.
मतलब मैं कह रहा हूँ, this is a thematic thing that he
हाँ.
uses in a lot of his films. Even a hero is about one event, right? And then that event ka every variable is pulled at for us to question and scrutinize.
It happens twice
Yeah.
in a hero. Okay, like first an event happens, then the rest 15-20 minutes of the movie is people dissecting the event.
Yeah.
Then another event happens, and then the next 20 minutes is them dissecting the event.
Dissecting
And this
it.
happens so many times now. You like एक second hand sadness है इस movie में.
Hmm.
When you're watching this now, you feel so sad for the character. That one
Yeah.
guy, that dude, his face. Okay, how did they cast him? Why did they cast him? They made this guy look so bechara na, and you can't
Yeah.
help but feel ekdam terrible for him because
Hmm.
you know it's either too simple. They ask him also in the movie, are you smart or are you simple?
Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
either you're too smart or
But
you're too stupid? Yeah.
yeah.
And he says, okay, line he says that if I would have been smart, I would not have been in the prison. Okay.
Right.
Fucking
Correct.
amazing line. I could help.
No,
Fuck, it's a
but
very good movie, man. This
going
one.
back to separation for a moment. What this guy said, like separation sort of introduced Farhadi on the global scale. No, matlab, he became like a superstar director after separation, and I think that what Bharat said is right, that he uska ek bahut hi, like similar to Wes Anderson has like a sort of way of telling a story. This guy has a very specific style, like what you guys also said, everything is hinged on an event, and all the characters involved are, you are made to your as an audience member, you are made to slowly discredit everybody who appears on screen, and then also you are made to realize their position and why they would think that way. That's there in a separation, that's there in a hero, obviously that's there in the salesman also. Everybody's motives, everybody is shown doing an action first which seems evil or which seems wrong or which seems right, and then you're shown the context behind it. So in a sense, to me, Asghar Farhadi is anti-Twitter. Like, he's the equivalent of, like, what if there was too much nuance in life? Like, if you can't decide anything. Like, I would hate for Asghar Farhadi to be a judge. Imagine that shit, dude. Like, imagine he's presiding over your case and he's like, यार मैं सबके साथ में empathize कर पा रहा हूँ, किसी की गलती नहीं है भाई, किसी की गलती नहीं, सब लोग.
But the thing is, with a separation, he puts you in his shoes, right? In the
हाँ.
end,
Yeah.
because and that's interesting because he says that she's the girl. So for people who have not seen the movie, and okay, we are spoiling. In the end,
Separation we can spoil. Huh?
yeah, the young girl, the daughter, has to decide now between the father and the mother. And it's not like it's open-ended. It's like she has decided, she's made the decision. So it's not like she's like, oh, I don't know. She's not, she's completely decisive. It's just that we don't know. And we have now to make that assessment on the basis of what we've seen.
In that moment, we are all a little Iranian child, basically. So that's it. By the way, I must say, I fucking love Persian, man. I love listening to Persian. I feel like it's a really it's a damn good, it's a damn melodious language as compared to most languages. You know?
I also think Iran and the cities, na, Behran, Tehran. I don't know if
Behran nahi hai.
No, there is Tehran. There's one
it.
more with a B. I'm forgetting the name. So I feel like these cities are way too pretty, like way too good looking.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they look very exquisite and exotic. I don't know what to say. Kya bolu yaar. Like, ya to, the people who shot it have specifically chosen, good places to shoot at. Even a street looks like, wow, what the fuck. It has such a nice view. Or it's just like that only. Because they've shot it all over the place and it looks like that. And so it looks very good. Also, I don't know why these Asghar Farhadi's last these films, not the one which we are talking about, all three of them look very clean, very sharp and clean.
Yeah.
There's something different about them.
What do you mean clean?
Sanitized.
Not the roads and all.
I wasn't asking for a synonym of clean.
No, but sanitized.
Like the color and the places and I don't know how to explain it. Shot well, looks beautiful, but also very जैसे तूने एक बार बोला था ना किसी ने आके स्क्रीन को साफ कर दिया तुम्हारा.
हाँ.
लैपटॉप स्क्रीन के ऊपर
वो सब
पोंछ दिया.
मतलब ऐसे डर्ट, मतलब ऐसा जैसा रोड के साइड में कचरा या रबल नहीं दिखता तो आपको you will expect in an Indian film, वो सब नहीं है.
This is, but वो तो like as Indians that's the first thing you notice, no?
Yeah.
Signal का ध्यान दे रहे लोग और मतलब ऐसा.
Also, guys, another thing, I mean, I don't want to talk about a separation in separation with the rest of his films because I feel there are themes that run very strongly in all of his films, especially the three that we're discussing today.
Even some shorts.
Even
some shorts like
marriage
in fact, without spoiling, a hero and separation end on pretty much the same kind of shot.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying the meaning of the shot is same, but the framing is the same. Yeah.
And also, it's hinged on somebody's idea of goodness, or everybody's idea of goodness. If, for example, in a hero, the last 10-15 minutes exist only because the hero or the protagonist wants to tell the truth the way it is. He doesn't want to doctor it the way his friend wants him to. And the entire last chunk is because of that. If at any point he were to give up his ideals and be okay with what he's being made to do, he'd be in a better position. So I think even in a separation, it essentially boils down to whether he is a good guy or not. Whether his daughter looks up to him as a guy, a man of ideals or not. I think this is a running theme in all of his, even in the Salesman.
Salesman mein also it's about a guy who he is basically trying to find another guy, right?
Yeah.
And the guy whom he's trying to find has done him wrong, so he needs some sort of revenge. But we don't know how exactly he will take a revenge because he's a nice guy. He's not a guy who would essentially go and hit somebody or fight with somebody. So we don't know that when he finally finds the guy, what will happen. So we need to know, and that the main question of a salesman is what will he do? How far can he go?
Yeah.
And the ending is very beautiful, I think. I mean, but spoil नहीं करना चाहिए शायद.
यार मैं तो I'm genuinely मेरा ये genuine confession I forget the end of
I have also
The Salesman.
forgotten
मैं बोलूं?
बता
बताऊं?
good chunk of
बता
the salesman. We are about to spoil the salesman by the way. So yes.
मुझे अच्छे से याद है.
हाँ.
So कहानी पूरा बताऊं क्या? जैसे as we should
हाँ
for the
just
people who have not.
summary बता दे हाँ
ठीक है. Spoiler फिर alert है ये. So there are two theater artists, a husband and a wife, and they are playing enacting the play Death of a Salesman. So one day they go back home and they find that their house is the foundation is shaken and they're without a house now. So they're looking for a place. So a person in the theater, a co-actor, takes them to a very good house and tells that, you can stay here, give me the rent. So when they start staying there, they really like it. It looks like, according to them, it's a good house. So one day, the wife is like in the bathroom and the husband is out for work, and an intruder, enters the house and uh, you know assaults the wife. So the husband, when he comes back, he notices that there's blood on the floor and she's not there. And then he goes to the hospital. He goes to a couple of hospitals or something, and he finds her. And the neighbors tell that she was assaulted. So then he goes around asking him why did that happen. And he finds that the house belonged to a sex worker who had very weird clients, and the client somebody and the sex worker has ran away. So whoever entered the house thought that she was still there and thought that she was in the bathroom. So he also left a car key, and some money. So what this guy does is he goes around the entire block looking, putting the car key into different cars, and he finds one car that is belonging to the guy. He opens it, he finds some documents, right? And he knows now the identity of the guy. So what he does is he goes to his previous house, which was broken, and he calls that guy. That guy is like a plumber or something. He calls that
yeah I
guy and he
remember
tells
that
that, you
yeah
come to the house and fix this. Uske aage, that somebody comes in, and that guy is not the guy whom jiska ID mila tha. And that guy is the father-in-law of this guy. So then it becomes like a drama ki this guy is confronting the father-in-law of the accused, and a lot of details are revealed after that, which is the crux of the story.
how does it end
Okay, so it ends. फिर पूरा spoil हो रहा है.
हाँ
It turns out that the father-in-law was the intruder and not the son-in-law.
That
So the
old
father,
man, no, the slightly balding, thoda
yeah,
fattish old man.
he's
Yeah, I
really
remember.
old.
He works at, there was some store. I remember. It's all coming back to me now that you said. मैंने
yeah
मामी में देखी थी.
Yeah, with you only
Salesman.
I
हमने
saw it
साथ
with
में
you.
देखी थी. हाँ.
There are lot of subplots also to it, but what happens is that this guy locks up the old man into the bathroom, and he decides to call his entire family, and
Right.
he tells them come here fast, and then he cuts the call, and then he calls his wife and says that I found the guy. So wife now, she's been recovering from post-traumatic stress, so she says that you need to let it go because I need to let it go. I can't talk about it, so please let him go, and otherwise I will not talk to you ever again. And it's now the dilemma is between taking revenge or saving his marriage. So then what he decides, when he goes inside the bathroom or that room that he locked up the guy in, that guy has like a mini heart attack or something. He's on the floor, and you can't tell if he's faking. So when his family comes in, he just says that
saved him
I no I asked him to help me out in the house for something, and he came and he had a heart attack, so please take him. But when they are taking him away, he tells them, Acha, let me just give him some money or something, just let me talk to him for 5 minutes. So they go out for like a minute, and then he tells him that he tells him something. I've forgotten that, but it's basically tells him that you shouldn't have done it or something, and then he slaps him damn hard. It's a very hard slap, and then that guy and then tells him to go, and then that guy goes away, and as he's walking out he just like falls literally now, and this seems like an actual emergency.
And that
And
guy's name was Anubhav Sinha. He made Thappad. I'm sorry. Yes.
yeah, whatever. So that's how it ends. He goes back to his life. He's found his revenge in a slap instead of like something major, but at least he got what he wanted.
Huh. So, by the way, does their marriage survive in the Salesman? Does it? मेरे को याद नहीं exactly.
It does, I think.
It does, I
It
think.
वो
It
does,
does.
right?
साथ में मतलब चलने लग जाते, like they go away together.
Right,
is
right.
what they've shown.
Because in this, okay, never mind for a hero. But क्योंकि
Also
spoil नहीं करना.
in both, at least barring the Salesman, in both films, even in About Ellie, by the way, it is about the kids or how the kids perceive the elders. So in A Hero, it is from both perspectives. For the main guy, his son, how his son views him, and how the daughter of the creditor sees
Views, right?
him.
Exactly.
And it's kind of, a comment on how children will sort of, take notes from your behavior. So you can never hide anything from them. You can tell them all you want, but at the end of the day, they will catch on. So like he really in a separation, he really tries to, get through to his daughter. But at the end of the day, what matters to the daughter is, what did you actually do?
Yeah.
And so this kind of moral center, being kids, and how we are perceived by kids, is also the centerpiece in About Ellie, which I really, really recommend you guys watch. It is one of my favorite Asghar Farhadi films out of the 4 I've watched. So, but yeah, this is very important, I think, how you are to your children or how your children perceive you.
Correct. And in general, I mean, I like what you said about the moral center. I mean, that's, in terms of, if you look at a filmmaker's journey, that's all that Farhadi is really doing. Whatever stories that he picks up are all they're all they seem very simple, very parable, like, like old school, like for context of people who haven't seen a hero or haven't even heard about it. It released this year or last year or something. And
2021.
and it's basically about a man who was in prison. He gets out for a leave. His girlfriend helped find some bag that she found some random place in which there are like these gold coins. He decides, he was in jail for a debt that he owed. So as soon as he pays the debt, he doesn't have to be in jail anymore because he's paid his dues. But so he figures out that I can sell these coins and pay some part of my debt. But then he decides not to do it, and he decides to return the bag to whoever's it was. And so that's the premise of this film as well. So again, there is a very, very simple kind of moral. In a separation, again, it's deciding of what happened that I guess the separation had a lot more room for I don't know, interpretations here and there. While while I can only talk about the films that I've seen, but The Salesman had mostly was mostly a mystery. And that's another thing, how Farhadi, I think, takes these simple stories with very, very simple procedures and makes them into proper mysteries. They even if they don't like, he's not increased the stakes necessarily to a level which is unimaginable, or but even a simple thing like, for example, in A Hero, he's looking for a job, right? And to get that job, he has to do certain things. So just the tension that is created in things like that, where a little lie might be caught, an inconsequential lie, it doesn't matter, the audience knows the lie is not. But it also tells you how, like, the film also tells you how easy it is to discredit people, like, and also what biases, like his whole film, all of his films really talk about biases at a very deep level. What do you guys think, except for that, in terms of themes?
I wanted to talk about that. In A Hero, in fact, he talks about social media as well. Because if you see the kids in the hero's house, they're all obsessed, first of all, by phones, and they're always on phones. And also a lot of discrediting and crediting happens on social media. So it's also about a social media trial. Everybody's sort of, there's in fact a funny, like a cut where the girlfriend introduces her brother to the guy, and he's like, I'm not going to meet him, who is this guy? And then she shows him the clipping where his good deed has been mentioned. Cut
Yeah.
to, like, straight cut to he's meeting him. He's shaking his hand, and so it sort of shows you how much, like, the whole film is exists because it is about this guy's story becoming famous in the media,
Hmm.
and then he gets discredited also on, like, one of these social media.
Yeah.
So it's
Which
a
I
is
very
feel like when I was watching a hero, na, I know that it's a very far-fetched connection, but I was thinking it's like a Satyajit Ray's version of a Clockwork Orange.
what?
You get, it's very far
okay.
away. Okay, I know
Explain,
it's
explain.
so. I think Asghar Farhadi makes it very humane, right? These
Hmm.
ideas, the
Hmm.
idea, so he talks about the human angle of a person going through the themes of authority and
Hmm.
prison and society and what is acceptable. There are moments when he has to bow down the guy, so he has people on top of him, even though he's supposed to be a guy just speaking his truth. When he's actually speaking his truth, people tell him, shut up, sit down and stop
Hmm.
talking. And so many times he has to lie because of the society, right?
Yeah.
So and also that's the human angle of it. But then a Clockwork Orange ka themes are what, like, there's a guy, he's essentially bad. He goes to
Hmm.
prison. He's a delinquent, as they say, and he goes to
Hmm.
prison for his bad deeds, and they try to fix him, and they
Hmm.
make a media circus out of it. Ki we'll fix a guy, we'll fix his
We will
morality.
revolutionize morality
Yeah.
and
uh,
rehabilitation. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we will rehabilitate him and we'll completely fix his morality, and he will join the society again, a fixed man. Then when he eventually leaves, he can't do bad deeds right anymore. But
Hmm.
he goes and meets everybody whom he had wronged earlier, and they all are taking advantage of him. Like,
Yeah.
advantage ab kya, he also took advantage of them, but he got what he deserved
Hmm.
ultimately, right? Now I think a hero is like antithesis to that idea, because it's a morally good guy, or maybe not a good guy but not a bad guy, who has
Hmm.
Yeah.
been who has been imprisoned because of a real issue.
Yeah.
Because of course you can't say that, like, Asghar Farhadi will not make a movie where the lead guy is a bad guy, right? He's done something. He's not a murderer. He's just a guy who couldn't pay his debt, and you're like, you will sympathize with this guy.
Yeah.
He's
Hmm.
he's suffered the consequences of the system. That's what I thought of when I was watching the movie. He's not really a guy who's he said, I went bankrupt, what can I do, right? And I
Yeah.
felt like,
Hmm.
yeah, what can he do? He looks like a guy who'll go bankrupt only.
उसकी शक्ल ही ऐसी है.
उसकी
Yeah.
शक्ल बहुत
मुक्का मार.
बेचारा, थोड़ा ज्यादा ही बेचारा. मेरे को भरत का मैसेज आया बीच में कि यार this dude has the most punchable face in the film, which
Vikas
tells
Singhale
you
wrote
that Bharat walks around punching people, by the way. So be careful when you approach him for a selfie. Yes.
Vikas wrote more like Kafka's Trial by Tamhane, which is
Ah.
also
Ah.
quite close,
No,
yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
Himanshu raised an interesting point, which just got me thinking about this also. Like, first of all, everything in Farhadi's films, it's like a sort of अगर जैसे काफका का एग्जांपल ले, like the conventional Kafka-esque this thing which was there in court also,
Hmm.
which is there in a lot of films, in like the most obviously like JFK. They've tried to also बोल भी देता है ये Kafka इसका, but like they try to create that kind of an atmosphere about how hellish it is to go through a bureaucratic system, and how the
Yeah.
system churns you out, shits you out. This is, I feel like this is more of like how um it raises a few questions on how the system isn't evil, and it's not nice, and it's not an evil system. It's not designed to keep you a certain way. Maybe the principles itself are wrong of our society. For example, if everyone who watches this film and sees it, and this guy owes some money, and everyone has decided that, oh, why should this guy be in prison, right?
Hmm.
So we as a society have decided that
Yeah.
actually this guy shouldn't be in prison, but also all of us resign ourselves to, but that's how the world is.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's a very interesting question to raise. Like, who really belongs in prison, and do prisons actually what the fuck is the point? If
Hmm.
like half the people in there are people like him,
Yeah.
mostly. And even apart from that, like the way that the film goes about, like, for example, the one of the funniest scenes in the movie for me, in A Hero, was basically all of this, a bit of a spoiler, but like all of this happens, and a charity gets hold of him after he comes in the paper. He gave money back when he was so desperate, because someone else, maybe that person who lost it, was in even greater desperate need of that
Yeah.
money. So this charity comes together to sort of raise money for him. So there's like a fundraising event over, and his son has like a stutter. He
Mhm.
can't speak. He has like a speech impediment.
Yeah.
So the moment his son and him come to the stage, and his son says that, my dad is innocent, and like, he's a good man and all that. They show like these shots of the audience like crying, like
Yeah.
these women, like their heartstrings are being pulled, and the guy who is owed the money, he's also sitting there, he's just getting pissed off. He's like, fuck you. I don't care. Like, he's seeing what is happening, and he
Yeah.
just walks out. Like, he immediately walks out, and all of them then solo. It's a great montage. They're all like taking money out.
Yeah.
People are
Yeah.
standing in line to give their credit
Correct.
cards. So I mean, all of these things, Asghar Farhadi can take things to an uncomfortable level. I feel like because he portrays his main characters as bicharas. It's like
Hmm.
it's like, I don't know how many of y'all have watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, but it's like Curb Your Enthusiasm if Larry David wasn't an asshole. You know, it's like if you're just put in these situations which you don't belong in, and
Yeah.
you have to somehow societally make your way out of them. But yeah.
Acha, so there is this point in A Hero, okay, which like
Hmm.
I had some issues understanding because I think it's very specific to Iranian society.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Should I? But वो थोड़ा spoil करना चाहिए क्या? पूछ लूं?
Catch is.
Okay, I'll
Uh,
just explain it without. I'll try not to spoil it.
hmm.
Hmm.
When when he gets caught, and in front of the council, not the
Hmm.
council, the people who are fundraising for him, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
they confront him,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and they
Correct.
tell him that
Don't give out a lot of details, but I get the scene you're saying.
I'm not. That's why I say if
Huh.
he when they confront him and he says, "Wait, I'll tell you
Hmm.
what really happened," and they say, then tell.
Hmm.
Then why doesn't he say, like, because he could have made it very simple for them. He could have just explained everything, that I didn't find it, she found it, this, that. Matlab, it's not that difficult to explain and people will get it right. But uh, he shuts up, and I feel like it's something to do with the fact that he hasn't married her.
Yeah. I think that
Yeah,
was it.
yeah, that was it.
He.
That's
Which is why,
but
if you
is
notice that even I don't know how accurate the translation is, but the lady, the head
Council.
of the council of the charity, she says that whatever woman this is who has some relations with you, like it's said in a very condescending kind of tone. I know this
Hmm.
because I watched the movie an hour ago, so I just remember that dialogue.
Hmm.
But yeah, you're right. And on all of his films have this thing in it. In a separation, Leila Hatami, who's the actor who plays the wife, she wants to leave Iran because she doesn't she's shown wearing jeans, she's shown like smoking in the back. Like, I'm just saying, I don't know what the situation of women in Iran is and if they're whatever, but like the film talks about that. The film talks about how she doesn't want to live in Iran anymore and she wants to move away. And I think that
Yeah.
was the whole conflict, right, with her daughter.
She wants
and
to
and
leave. Yeah.
and and her she can't leave, he can't leave because her father, his father is so sick and all of
Hmm.
that. So it's about the family as well. What do you guys think about his portrayal of families and all these films? Like, everything boils down to to a family, to one family dealing. Even in this, there's an extended family, his sister,
Yeah.
his brother-in-law,
I think
all of
everything,
that.
what it kind of shows, and I don't know if this is specific to Iranian community or Iranian society, but
Hmm.
everything is a communal matter, not communal in the religious sense,
Hmm.
but communal in the family sense. Nothing is private, you know, everything sort of boils down to people being affected by what the truth of this character is.
Hmm.
So it really matters to everybody in the community as to what is the truth. So, for example, what the main protagonist in a hero did will, uh, will affect not only him but everybody in the NGO, the jailers, and
Hmm.
everybody.
His
In
family.
a
Yeah.
separation, it's the same with whether he pushed the house help too hard or not. You know, it will determine what happens to him, his child, his wife, the family of the maid, because she's not told her family, right?
Hmm.
So everything sort of becomes a public slash communal affair.
I I think this is also why, as Indians, we will be able to, for example, if you're
Yes.
looking at divorce films, I don't
Yeah.
know if that's a genre, but if you're looking at divorce films, one will relate more to a separation than marriage story, because again, I
Yeah.
think in Eastern cultures generally, whether it's a family fallout, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a separation, whatever it is, whether it's a property being sold, it seems like the entire family comes together on these things. This is not, it is only maybe in certain cases it's like an individualistic choice, but I think in most cases it's a very community choice. I mean, it's up to one person. Say if you're selling a property, it's up to one person, but everyone's a bit of a stakeholder because everyone feels like they'll be affected. I'm just saying, like, this is generally there in Eastern cultures.
I
I think
think
it does that well.
I, I think we Indians
Right.
watch films from Iran with a different angle, and I think
Hmm.
Americans and the Western civilization, they watch, like, if anybody. I think we are looking at a separation very differently from how an American would watch, because an American, like Americans, man, like 50% of the marriages end up in divorce, right? And it's a very normal thing.
Hmm.
It's a stat that I read. I'm not like not. I don't know where I'm quoting it from, but it's like a thing. It happens, and people kind of take it in the stride and go. It's not a big deal. So
Hmm.
if you watch a community, if you watch a divorce happening in a community where it's kind of restricted, so it becomes a big deal when you see, acha, so many people are affected and also. I think Indians are not watching a separation with that prism.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We watch
Yeah.
it कि अच्छा ये तो होता है, ये तो है,
Yeah. Huh.
इतना तो ठीक है. We are part of a community. We have to, if there's a divorce in an Indian society, ऐसा ही होगा.
Yeah.
Like, is
Everyone
it
will know. Yeah.
we'll
Everyone.
all have to figure this out properly. Like, everybody
Yeah.
will judge you or not. So I think it was a big deal because it was like the Slumdog Millionaire of Iran. Because they had to, like, oh, like, people in America,
नहीं
shit,
नहीं
it's
भाई,
so
it's not
regressive.
even the Slumdog. At least Slumdog. This one, at least separation was made by an Iranian, no?
Yeah.
Slumdog is
Yeah.
like is. By the way, Mr. Pink has asked, इंडिया में डिवोर्स को नॉर्मलाइज करना है, कैन बॉलीवुड डू इट और इज इट डिफिकल्ट? भाई, भरत एंड आई हैव जस्ट बीन मैरिड लाइक अ ईयर अगो, so I don't
Not to
know.
each other.
I not to each other. It's a good point, but yeah. So
अभी करेंगे ना
I
डिवोर्स को
guess.
लेजिटिमाइज ये वाली
Uh,
फिल्म में
Also, काफी
गहराइयां
सारे
हैं.
comments हैं. There is Sagar has asked, do you think this filmmaker stays away from politics on purpose? I don't think so. I mean, in Iran, you can't. I guess you can't straight up talk about politics. To be
He
honest, even in India, you can't really straight up talk about politics.
Yeah,
You
but
can to a
but
point.
he does, I mean, kind of stay. He toes the line, I feel.
Yeah.
He sort of brings up these. So one thing that I noticed about Asghar Farhadi's films is that everybody, when it comes down to the final truth, they are very truthful. For example,
Hmm.
if any of the characters in an Asghar Farhadi films are supposed to swear on the Quran, they will not lie.
Hmm.
And this happens multiple times, by the way. Swearing on their children, swearing on their mother, swearing on the Quran. They're very conscientious that way.
Hmm.
So I do feel Asghar Farhadi sometimes does not, I mean, does not even go there, does not even question these uh, pillars of society. And I would assume that politics is included in that. But to his defense, I feel there is no other way to make films in Iran. The other way is to get banned for life, which is Jafar Panahi.
Jafar
You know,
Panahi, yes.
Jafar Panahi's films will have a more critical view of society and women. I mean, of
And
how,
oppression.
No, but no, related to this women thing, that's true. Even, but all Iranian filmmakers, as we know, Iran is actually popular for this, of how they manage to not get arrested and yet make their point. Like, for example, in Separation, she wants to move to the West somewhere, right? So,
Yes.
I mean, that is the center. So, why do I think what these people play very smartly is like people asking themselves, why does she want to move? Oh, is it
Yeah.
because etc. etc.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
becomes
It's just
like that.
it's
Yeah.
just those things that are just beneath the surface but are never explored.
Huh.
So it's up to you to fill in the blanks.
Huh.
And
So
we've been sort of, by the way, also we've been taught that this is what Iranian filmmaking is, right? The new wave or whatever. They question the society without questioning it. So that's how they kind of.
by the way, Shaurya Pathak ne whatever I said in like 3.5 minutes उसने एक line में बोले, which is Eastern societies are collectivist and Western societies are
Correct.
individualistic, which is true. That's the whole thing. Yes. Very
Achha,
true.
I
one
think
more
it's
thing.
connected to like population, na?
I
Like
don't know, man.
India में population इतना ज़्यादा है, and also Eastern societies, मतलब I'm guessing Iran and all also are more densely populated, right, compared to say
Not
America.
No,
sure.
I also
Not sure.
I don't know about that. I also think that it's with a lot of complex thing. It's like we are more endogamous. We are like this caste puts it into this, and religion adds to this stuff. Like we like to move around. I'm talking about conventional people from these cultures: India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, China,
Hmm.
maybe Iran, all these Asian cultures, Middle Eastern cultures. Is that like we don't like to move out of the circle. There is a well-defined circle when you're born into a family, and then you're expect whatever circle you come from, whether it's upper class, lower class, middle class, whatever it is, you're expected to play within the bounds of that normally.
Mm.
I'm saying conventionally. So
Mm.
I guess that, and in that the whole system, and the reason why it sort of persists also, this collective thinking, is because this system also supports each other. Like what we talk about in India, like caste privilege, right? You might not have money and you might not, but you have like social capital and caste privilege because you know certain people.
Yeah.
So that system also helps you in maintaining whatever is your standard of living at that moment, at least, at the very least. So I think all of these things also make a difference, because like for example, in Western cultures, maybe not America is a bad example, but like they have safety nets, right? Like there are like in Canada, or in even like whatever Scandinavian like social democracies, they have like these proper safety nets, right? For whether it's medical
France has
care, or
100% of that.
yeah, exactly, or European nations, a lot of them. So
Yeah.
which we don't have in India. So people inevitably end up relying on on their um, their support system, and a very large support system, normally speaking. And that ends up, then the downside of that is that ends up in inserting themselves where they have no business. So I guess
Mm.
that also makes
Also, by the way, this I've noticed this after watching About Ellie.
hmm,
He reuses a lot of his actors. So the main guy in The Salesman is one of the people in A Separation, the husband of the maid, and
right.
he's also in About Ellie. He's one of the main characters in About Ellie. Now, About Ellie में जो Ellie है, she's also the wife in The Salesman. And About Ellie mein, one of the characters is also the husband in A Separation. So he reuses his actors a lot. He's also uh, you know made his own daughter act in both A Separation and A Hero. The daughter of the main guy, the main daughter in A Separation, is Asghar Farhadi's daughter.
Oh,
Yeah, and she's also in A Hero as
the
the daughter
creditor's
of the
daughter.
creditor. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's very, very, he uses.
Very very Iranian nepotism. थोड़ा और artistic है, थोड़ा और subtle. हाँ.
when
But
she
maybe
came into the frame, I was thinking, why is she getting like 2-3 cuts to herself, you know? Like when she was just
But
printing
didn't you guys
stuff.
notice it immediately? I was like, oh, अच्छा, ये तो वही है, ये तो वो उसका नाम भी मुझे याद था उस time.
अच्छा.
From A Separation. क्या था उसका नाम? Oh, I forget now. But yeah.
I thought I knew I had seen her somewhere, but I couldn't point it out as that daughter from A Separation. But now, of course, अब तूने बताया तो एकदम
Hmm.
एकदम से.
But
Yeah,
यार तुम लोग please वो देखो about Ellie.
About it. What is the film about?
So I'll tell you,
Yes.
it's the opposite of a Asghar Farhadi film. In what sense? I'll tell you. A normal Asghar Farhadi film, the three that we've discussed today, they start off as social dramas and sort of attain a mystery thriller sort of space somewhere in between.
Moral quandaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one starts off as a thriller. So I'll just tell you the logline, because anything beyond that, if you know, I would say it's a spoiler. So the logline is a couple of friends go out on a seaside resort trip. They go there and one of them goes missing. That's the like a log line. But how this mystery slash thriller log line becomes into again a moral dilemma about truth and morality. So it sort of is like the reverse of a normal Asghar Farhadi film.
Right.
And dude, it had the same effect on me which I did when I saw A Separation. So like I'm still in thrall of the film. You guys have to watch it. It's beautiful movie.
It has like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, no? It has like 99% or 100% on
Does
Rotten
it?
Tomatoes. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know it.
I just googled it before this, and I was like, how? Like, matlab hundreds. Like, I was like, this is probably the first time I'm seeing it.
Guys, we should do this. We should genuinely do a part 2 where we watch his other films, because I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about.
There are lots of other films. We thought we'll discuss these because these only ones that we've seen.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, I would just interrupting the conversation a little bit to remind everyone to like the stream. Thank you guys for liking if you've already done that. Also, this episode, if you've noticed, it's a subscriber only live chat. So if you want to say something but you are not able to, then subscribe and wait for 5 minutes and then you can say whatever you want. But please don't unsubscribe after that. That will be like really petty. Okay, almost as petty as us turning the live chat into a subscriber only chat. But also, we are only 4 subscribers away from getting to 1100 subscribers. So please subscribe, or steal your parents' phone in the night, your partner's phone, and just subscribe from those phones as well, and that will help us out. Coming back to the discussion, there are lots of questions. Iran ka kya scene hai? I don't get it. Is it Islamist or normal country? I don't know, man. You figure
No,
it out.
I read about
Is
this.
I
Okay.
know
Did
this.
you?
Yeah,
What?
there are lots of like. So apparently, Iran is not what you imagine it to be. Like,
What?
it's not
What
like
did
not.
you imagine it to be?
I
I'm
mean,
curious now.
it's not as conservative or quote unquote regressive, because apparently Tehran is a very it's like a cultural hotspot, and it's like in a salesman they're showing that they're doing like an English
Yeah.
play,
Hmm.
death of a salesman ka, they're enacting it. Apparently theater scene is very big and movies are also bigger, and the youth understand that they are being there are these regressive laws about what you can say and what you can't say, and so they kind of they're finding creative ways to go around the loophole or whatever. So
Yeah.
apparently it's not as you would think. That's what I meant.
It
It's
is a
not
slightly
Mr. Pink has now said Tehran is Paris of the East. Matlab, you know all this shit about the place, but you're still asking us. It's fucking testing us, basically, at this point.
Tehran actually is supposed to be a cosmopolitan kind of a place.
Hmm.
So, but it is obviously at odds with the regime, which is Islamist. And as you guys have gathered from the movies, women are not allowed without a headscarf outside in public. So,
Is that an enforced law though? I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
it
Somebody
is-
from Iran, please tell us.
I don't know if it is enforced, but it is
Hmm.
illegal for women to venture out without a headscarf.
Correct.
And also, what else? Oh yeah, Iran is probably the only country where the age of consent or age of marriage is the lowest, and it is not fixed.
What?
Yeah, it
What is
depends
it?
on its puberty.
What the fuck is
Yes.
it? This is like medieval.
Yeah. This is. But again, I do not know how it is enforced. I do not know whether it is strictly followed or what are the social mores and conduct.
It must be something like India only, dude. I'm sure. Ki, matlab, urban areas, everyone's a little.
Yeah.
And in like, but it still happens here and there. So
Yeah.
I'm
But
guessing. I hope it's not. I hope it's like fucking
Yeah.
normal, but yeah. I mean, everyone gives this example of Iranian filmmakers who talk about, I mean, I don't know the situation of mainstream Iranian cinema, because I mean, whatever I've seen has been like very festival circuity. But we give this example of Iran to like in India, right? Because in India also people talk about censorship and all that, and people give example of Iran, like look at Iranian filmmakers, they're so smart, they managed to make their points and everything, despite the getting past and all of that, right? So I just I just feel like maybe India in that sense, just in a comparison, we if I also judge from this film, we are a way more judgmental society. If I'm to just judge from Farhadi's films, let's say Farhadi
Yeah.
has drawn up an accurate depiction of life in Iran. You know,
Hmm.
if it is accurate, if it is, then it's a pretty I mean, I'm just saying, with even with all the flaws of all the characters and all of that, it is as opposed to India, where you we're not a very tolerant society in that sense, you know, where in terms of understanding another person's pain,
Hmm.
um and just
I think
empathizing with somebody else's, like यहाँ पर mob, like the mob justice thing is like this over here.
I
It's
think
like
socially we are
hmm,
less tolerant.
hmm.
Legally, we try like to call ourselves like, oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
we are tolerant and we have like tolerance for everything. But I think socially we're, yeah, just going by what we have seen in the films,
yeah.
their
Even other
minds.
Iranian films, you know, like
Yeah.
And I think we don't have good storytellers here who put out the point of, a complicated society with complicated ideas. Like, we don't
That too.
have the Faradi, and there are many other Iranian films. I kind of have a list. I was going through, ki what all to watch from Iranian cinema. It turns out there have been, like, since 1970s, good films have been coming out which are very critical of the society, and मतलब काफी अच्छे से वो लोग करते हैं. हम लोग तो यहाँ पे we can't criticize also properly. There are lots of things here that मतलब you can compare.
it's not just about criticize, it's also about the culture and what is acceptable, like
Yeah,
whether
so
you're
without
okay.
cinema, leave cinema
Huh,
outside. There's the society, right?
hmm.
Imagine a person comes to you and tells you that he went to jail in India.
Yeah.
क्या होने वाला है उसका? मतलब will you talk to him, or will you the thing, right? You just
That's
said
what
no.
I'm saying. We're a lot we're a lot more exploitative that way also. Matlab, we're in terms of judgments, we have like about 50 more criteria. It'd be very difficult to make a Farhadi like film over in India. Everyone doesn't interact with everyone, you know, in India.
Hmm.
It's not a full on that kind of system. Also, like I'm just wondering who are in I'm just trying to, the reason I'm talking about India so much is I'm trying to contextualize
Hmm.
this in my head, which is who would you say is the closest filmmaker to talk about society in this kind of a way, um
I mean,
in
Chaitanya
India?
Tamahane.
Chaitanya Tamane is the most obvious one that comes to mind, because he also does a similar sort of, you know, understanding the morality of different characters. Mani Ratnam, people are saying. I don't think so, man. Mani
No,
Ratnam.
I don't think so.
I'm saying, you know, when you have filmmakers like Mani Ratnam also, that, and that's what I meant. You know, in India, even the better filmmakers, say a Kashyap, even
Hmm.
in Black Friday, there was that dialogue, na, ki, when he's asked about human rights and he gives that fuck all answer ki unka human rights ka. You know, this is a dialogue in like 50 police films in India, and like Mani
Yeah.
Ratnam's films also, like when he's um okay,
I
Heather you
think
can take for example, where Shah
Heather,
Bardwaj.
yes. And also, I would say Dibakar's films. Dibakar Banerjee is a close
Hmm.
this one for me
I think
because he.
Satyajit Ray is the closest to
Hmm.
showing a more complicated society with,
That's true.
That's true.
That's
Satyajit Ray
actually very
was.
true.
and
Right.
more human approach. One thing about Farhadi though, the guy hates music.
Yeah,
He
man. Yeah.
absolutely has no music in his movies. He doesn't put it.
हाँ.
Even if he puts it, no, गलती से डालता है कि अच्छा बैकग्राउंड में कोई बंदा
बैकग्राउंड में कोई
एक्चुअली
बजा
बजा
रहा
बैकग्राउंड
है
में कोई बजा रहा होता है, हाँ वो, हाँ.
वो हीरो में है ना आई थॉट अरे म्यूजिक
हाँ.
एंड देन
And
आई
then
सॉ द
उसमें
सोर्स
ये 1 सेकंड के लिए वो जेम्बे भी बजाता है अपना मेन कैरेक्टर, थोड़ा टाइम के
Oh,
लिए.
by the way, did you guys catch the very obvious film school kind of or reference of Charlie Chaplin?
कहाँ पर मैंने नहीं देखा.
A hero में था. It's
हाँ.
on one of the shops का ऐसा background में बड़ा सा poster है of Charlie Chaplin, a poster of the kid.
Oh.
So Charlie Chaplin holding the hand of a kid, and it's similar to a hero, the main guy
Oh.
walking with the sun. So it's very obvious in your face.
सब लोग यार, 1 सेकेंड, when I ask you कि tell me an example of close to Farhadi, I feel like a teacher right now, but like you don't have to name every filmmaker you like. Priyadarshan is not like, first of all. Okay,
I think
whoever
they're
is
talking
saying,
about how, like, for example, a Mala Mal
huh.
Weekly satirizes humor.
But is Rajpal Yadav's character humanized in that? I'm talking. Come on, guys. Okay, Lijo Jose. No, Lijo Jose is a very good filmmaker, but it's not like
I
it's
think
not. You get
again
that
he
community he shows. Yes.
community. No, he does show community. I think he shows morality.
That's true.
So it is
Yeah.
interesting to think.
Vetrimaran, no man, Vetrimaran
Yeah,
very different. No,
no,
how?
no.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't say. I
Vetrimaran
wouldn't
does it.
say. I wouldn't say Vetrimaran shows you the all the grays of society and puts you in a moral quandary. He takes a very clear moral
Yeah,
position.
fair.
You know.
No, but I think what I can relate Vetrimaran to in these themes is the questioning of authority. Oh, but that is not a question in
That's not a
Asghar
question.
Farhadi's
By
film. Correct.
Mr. Pink has also said joke. He was the one who said Priyadarshan. Now don't try to backtrack, my friend. Please. This is clear Mr. Pink behavior.
Don't
If you-
hide behind the
yeah.
color.
Don't hide behind 90s movie reference. Come on, man. And tip people for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on. Mani Ratnam made Iruvar in 97. Tamil actors become CM for their politics and movies. Iruvar is most straightforward political film ever. But okay, listen,
film
as
hai.
somebody who loves Iruvar, okay,
Hmm.
honestly speaking, I'm just saying a lot of Indian cinema is very I don't know how to say it. It's very, and I know this sounds like, I'm fucking calling ourselves great or something like that, but just from a purely viewer perspective, somebody who consumes world cinema also, it's very mediocre, man. I mean, I'm just saying कि अगर आप पहली बात इरूवर में 13 गाने ऐसे कुछ था, ठीक है, बहुत ज्यादा गाने. Okay, first of all, some of them picture is nice and all, but whatever. Second of all, it's not like it also has that montage problem that a lot of filmmakers, especially Mani Ratnam, suffers from, which is that, जैसे for example, Guru में वो he starts getting a little richer, and then there is a montage of things happening, and then he's Mukesh Ambani. Like it's like that. And then even in Iruvar, it's like, okay, they show you that great scene, where he's looking over the crowds and अपना हाथ ऐसे करता है, and there's that whole dialogue, Lenin, Stalin, Hitler, but I'm just saying it's not at this level of understanding society. This is an ultra realistic film. Like this is like
I think Ray is a good.
Ray is the best actually.
Ray is the best
example.
answer.
Because
I
it's
think.
like
Spoken like
he
Bengalis
is
without dude, we have spoken about Ray and there is not a Bengali in this discussion. This is the closest is Himanshu, who
it's
comes from
more
Assam, and
offensive.
Bharat is married to a Bengali. So I too have no connection. But
It's
yes.
more offensive that an Assamese is naming
Yeah, that's
a
true.
Bengali.
Yeah.
Bengalis just die.
I didn't
Kill
know.
yourselves.
Himanshu does not approve of this kind of joke
Because I'll tell you, when I
from
was
us
watching A Hero,
mainlanders.
Bol.
I thought it felt like a fucking documentary only. It was a documentary. It was not
Which one?
A Hero is like a documentary only,
The
right?
hero तो नहीं क्या? Do you guys remember The Hero?
I remember Hero Love Story of a Spy.
हाँ, that one, The Hero.
I
Love
thought
Story of a
मैं
Spy.
डाउनलोड कर रहा था ना जब सॉरी बोलना नहीं चाहिए बट हीरो
चलेगा, बोल
डाउनलोड
दो.
किया ना
हाँ.
हम लोगों ने
हाँ,
और कैसे
हाँ,
देखेंगे
हाँ.
तो तब मैंने हीरो द हीरो लिखा मैंने तो सनी देओल
ओ भाई
क्या था यार उसके गाना कौन सा था एक बहुत पॉपुलर
दिल में है प्यार
he had a French cut man
He had a French cut. Sunny Deol at that point was at the dying embers of his career.
Dude, I'm telling you,
where he was trying everything.
yeah, the best dialogue from that movie, I've repeated this before in the podcast, is by Rajpal Yadav. He's asked the time on this thing, and he says midnight 1 o'clock GST.
नहीं यार GMT बोला होगा तो
GST बोला यार पर चेक कर
हाँ.
मुझे याद है यार मेरे
नहीं तो डिस्काउंटेंट की क्रेडिबिलिटी नहीं हर्ट होनी चाहिए ना वो सबसे
midnight 1 o'clock GST.
एराज का कमेंट आया है आई आल्सो फील लाइक 80s 90s बॉलीवुड के टाइम आर्ट हाउस फिल्म्स और इवन मेनस्ट्रीम फिल्म्स वर लाइक रियली क्रिटिकल ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट उसके बाद कुछ हो गया हमारे फिल्म्स को नहीं यार आई मीन इफ यू इट जस्ट I feel I disagree on that a little bit. I think everything goes in waves a little bit. first of all, also maybe not everyone is capable of criticizing the government. Let me put it like that to begin with. Okay. My main example is Anubhav Sinha, whose film I'm not the biggest fan of. I saw a little bit of Mulk and I saw Article 15. It was so offensive. Okay, like I'm just saying. Okay, and uh, I'm just. I think not everyone is actually even capable. That's what I'm trying to say. That not everyone has that kind of a mature perspective. Like I know as a writer, I know I certainly don't have that. I wouldn't want to take on the government without knowing what the fuck I'm doing, first of all. So I think all these things also need to be considered. Maybe the filmmakers back then were a little better in general. I think a lot of them came from a school of came from an academic background, FTI, all of that. I'm talking about the art house ones.
I think the only one of caliber in our generation, I feel personally, who can genuinely criticize the government for whatever it's worth, is Dibakar, because his films have constantly had that sharpness. Even Shanghai, if you remember.
Right. Yeah, and they do have a sense of. They are also very humane. It's they have an understanding of Indian society, at least what as to urban Indian society. Like biggest example being Oi Lucky Lucky Oi, where the constant the absurdity of living in a household where this guy has such terrific control over such a patriarch that he can get another woman to live in the house who's a little bit sleazy with him also as a kid. Like I'm just saying like that. All of these things you hear about in Indian society. Like you hear about this kind of behavior, this kind of situation. So I think I would say Dibakar is I just hope he comes back to because I know Sandeep or Pinky for our last film, but that was shot so long ago. So I don't know.
2017 or something.
But I was kind of excited on that note.
मतलब अनुभव सिन्हा की मेरी favorite film by far is 10.
Yeah.
I agree. When you're
so much
do
fun.
what you want, do what you really feel like doing. But if you're really all about Das Bahane, then you make Das Bahane. Das Bahane was not a bad film, dude. For its time, I call it Das Bahane. There's no.
I rewatched it recently.
हाँ.
And उसमें भाई पंकज कपूर जो ट्रिप किया है ना, वो तो एक पॉइंट पे तबला बजाने लगता है, एयर तबला बजाने लगता है. I
have a very weird memory from when Das had, because Das had seen in theater, it was all the rage.
Yeah.
Okay? But Das ke baad, I remember at that time Sachin was going through some lean patch or something. I remember reading this and laughing a lot in the newspaper. Somebody had and usko drop nahi kar rahe the team se because it's Sachin and all that. And then कुछ तो article आया था newspaper में saying 10 bahane. Which was because his number was 10. So 10. Which was quite fun. I don't know why this memory just came to me, but yeah, it's fucking hilarious.
Chalo.
This is
a good point.
This is the point.
Come off at the far end.
Okay, so we have covered a hero, we've covered the hero. Everything
from Satyajit Ray to Sunny Deol.
What do you guys Arnab asked, what do you guys think about Thappad? I think it's a great technique. Shut the mouths of fools. But no,
I didn't dislike that film. I liked that film.
I didn't watch it. Because I watched the trailer and I was like, I agree. And then I was like,
it was basically that. Yeah. But I think it's the most sincere of his films because he's not, for the most part, he's not telling like a more like he's not proving any point. I feel he's just telling a story, which is, I mean, as basic as it is, but it still is not in service of a social message, which I feel a lot of these social films do these days. Thappad is more of a character study than a message.
That's good.
Yeah, Mulk I feel is about a message, and Article 15 is blatantly like cashing in fact, which is terrible. But Thappad doesn't do that. Thappad I feel is more of a character study.
The funniest scene in Article 15, just digressing, is in the trailer also. And I know the reason for that scene, and I know who it's trying to appeal to, but it's so dumb. which is this guy who's an IPS officer. He's a senior
Hmm.
IPS officer. Okay. Ayushman Khurrana. He's in this village and he is asking everyone, "Tumhari caste kya hai? Tumhari caste kya hai?" And meri caste kya hai? Yeah, he's asking everybody and they're explaining, "Oh, you're this caste, you're here in the hierarchy, you're here in the hierarchy." And he says, "What the fuck is going on?" And that's like supposed to be audiences, not unlike people who are in our families,
Mhm.
who are like, who to them it's like they're so far removed from caste, this thing, that they're like कि इसका जरूरत ही क्या है, ये तो खत्म हो चुका है. So but dude, an IPS officer, first of all, there is no way that person would not know the
Yeah.
existence of his own caste. Okay, what do you think he wasn't asked that in his interview? Like, don't you think that was a fucking thing that he realized? Like, I'm just saying, him not understanding the caste equation of a place, usko IPS kisne banaya? Like, I'm just
Hmm.
saying, like, isn't that something a cop knows? If you're
Yeah.
supposed to govern a district, the law and order of a district, you're supposed to know this shit. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's like, I know what you're saying. Your heart is in the right place, but it's just annoying to see to see such a badly made film. Let's take some comments. Also, I want some feedback from the audience. In the beginning of this episode, we were answering people's questions, and somebody had asked how they can be taken into the Discontent WhatsApp group. We already have a bunch of members, but we are planning to put a paywall at some point soon, very soon, and that will allow you
More
to get
people. Yeah.
into the WhatsApp group. Would you guys like us to make a Discord server? Would you guys like us to sort of do you guys think, would you be willing, if you are not a member of the group, or even if you are, would you pay for something like this? I'm honestly just asking right now. Okay, is this something that how much do you think you would pay? Just help us out like that, because you guys are like thoda bhav karte hain, chalo. You guys are like are people who've been watching us since a while, I'm assuming, most of you all. How much do you think you would pay for entry into WhatsApp? Because I've seen other channels also,
And what we
they also
essentially,
charge.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
what we do on the WhatsApp group is just a bunch of like cinephiles. We talk about films that we watched or recommendations or
but
discussions.
to be honest, the discussions sometimes are really really fun. They're also like, I get a lot of recommendations in the group. I also realize how little I've watched, because there's so many
Yeah.
people who watch so much. So that
And
really is
यार
fun.
सबने सब चीज देखा है ग्रुप में. ये have written to
Haan,
them personally. Like
haan,
whatever you say na, they've seen it, they have opinions about it. So I feel like we three have seen lesser than most
haan,
people. I can't talk for Bharat though और
hmm,
आदित्य थोड़ा पता है मेरे को. भरत तो ज्यादा ही देखता
haan, haan.
है.
नहीं,
But
मैं भी
yeah,
उतना भाई, ये लोग नेक्स्ट लेवल पे हैं.
अब क्या हो गया ना, हम लोग तीनों थोड़े थोड़े ऑक्यूपाइड हो गए हैं ना काम से, तो
करेक्ट.
देखना थोड़ा कम हो गया. वरना मैं भी उसी पॉइंट पे था एक टाइम पे, मतलब 4 साल पहले, जब मैं हर दिन 2-2 मूवी देख लेता था.
ओके, सो नाइट आउल का कमेंट आया है, सागर का कमेंट आया, कंप्लीटली एंडोर्स व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप, इट्स फन. नाइट आउल का कमेंट आया, बेरोजगार हूँ लेकिन 100-200 दे सकता हूँ पर मंथ, which is I just want to get an idea of how much. So we will charge 800 rupees basically. So I'm just kidding. But no, but we will soon have that. Also, if you notice, we're a lot more regular now. So you have a lot more fucking shit to watch on this channel. We'll also be putting out a film soon. Himanshu, is that right? And we will be putting that out. How soon do you think? I want
Wait,
to put
which
you on the
one is
spot
this?
so that
Which one is this?
उसने जो भी बनाई है short film.
I'll show you guys a cut after we end this, then you
Okay,
Oh,
guys tell
nice.
me.
ठीक है.
Wait, which? Okay, cool.
Himanshu's made a short film and we're going to be putting that
Oh,
out on
okay.
the channel soon. So
That one.
watch out for that. Also, hopefully some more content coming to the channel soon-ish. Also, please tell us, like, what do you think you would like us to do? If you're a regular viewer of this content of the podcast, you know what we are like. You know what we're like. You know what we
Do.
think, what our opinions are. We are a little bit brash, so we're not shy about um, having unpopular opinions, or having like kind of often borderline offensive opinions, and talking about some fucked up shit. How about inviting some guests? I have invited some guests. We are trying to fix that up. Please comment on people who you think we should call also, because obviously we don't watch everything on YouTube or on the social media scene. If there's somebody interesting that who you think we should call, please comment and tell us about that as well. Abhinav says that CCT charges 400 per month for the WhatsApp group. Just saying.
Yeah, CCT,
fair
to be
enough.
honest, they're bigger.
They're a lot
They're
bigger.
way bigger, and
Yeah.
they have multiple WhatsApp channels, as far as I know.
They have
WhatsApp
like
groups.
5-6, dude.
And I'm sure, yeah, just looking at their output of content, they're way more active. So I mean, we'll have to.
Yeah, I mean, we also, that's the whole thing, you know. We don't want to price it at a point where we feel like we're you know, हम बेचारे बच्चे बेरोजगार सिनेफाइल से पैसे छीन रहे हैं, you know. So like we
Also,
also
we'll have to. Okay, no, this is an internal conversation. Sorry.
हाँ, हम लोग अपना, but Ronald Singh has asked, Distox कब है? Distox is on a hold right now. Distox is basically this. भाई एक बात बता, Distox और इसमें फर्क क्या है? जरा मेरे को समझा दो. So then this is the same thing. Just watch this now. But if at all, you know, if they have a requirement for a show and if we are also free and willing to do it, then we'll do something like that. It helps them out because it helps them with content. It helps us out because it helps us with pushing our page to a lot more people. So yeah, tell us who you would like. Please renew your collaboration with CCT. Distox was really good.
भाई ऐसा क्या था जो
I'll tell you. I'll know.
That's what I'm
Listen,
trying to
listen,
understand.
listen, 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 listen.
हाँ.
Like PewDiePie, na? He comes every day. Okay. So sometimes he used to, long time ago, he used to call it Fridays with PewDiePie.
I know. हाँ.
ठीक है, उसके बाद ना 10 साल हो गए उस बात को, आज तक लोग बोल रहे हैं get back to Fridays with PewDiePie. There's no difference between Fridays with PewDiePie and normal Fridays. It's that we called it Distox, so now तुम इसको Distox बना देते हैं हम लोग. Let's just actually I'll tell you, we did fun things यार with Distox. We did like ranking and
अबे रैंकिंग तो हम अभी भी किए हैं, हमने अपने भी किया है रैंकिंग. क्या बात?
अरे no, we used to, you know, get some fun pose and all shit and we used to play around with it. We need to make it more like that, you know.
Actually, Distox would have continued only, but we were only busy, so it's not. I mean, at some point maybe we can start it again. But by the way, we will be getting Hindol soon on the Hindol and Vani both will be coming on the podcast soon. Not in the same episode, in different episodes. But yeah, so you can. We will be. Oh, by the way, yes, I should put this out. We will be discussing adaptations of like our favorite adaptations from books to films. On the podcast with Vani. So tell us your favorites and maybe we
भाई
can
मैंने सोचा था एडेप्टेशन वाले एपिसोड में मजा आएगा, सब होगा, बहुत पढ़ा है मैंने, बट फिर मैंने डिसकंटेंट अपना व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पढ़ा और उसमें जो नाम थे ना, मतलब मैंने ना पढ़े है ना देखा है, तो मैं क्या बताऊं. तो
एराज इज सेइंग, मतलब यार उस शो में टॉपिक्स अच्छे होते थे. तो yes, तो those were
shout out to Vani
because she was the one who actually came up with it. Now I'm realizing why their channel has so many subscribers.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we need to work on our topic skills. But yeah, by the way, guys, this I'm asking Himanshu and Bharat. Do you guys think we should stream more often? Do you guys think you can stream more often? I can these days.
यार मैं नहीं कर सकता. मैं even if I were free, I can't do it because I'm not good with this. I don't enjoy it.
Right.
If it were any more often than this, I would not enjoy it.
No, I appreciate Bharat's honesty because मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि
please buy membership of our channel, guys.
We don't enjoy
like it. But you buy it, please.
I'm not saying I don't enjoy this. I'm saying I wouldn't enjoy it if it were more frequent. I would enjoy it if we were doing other things. Like for example, if I were making videos.
Correct.
That kind of a thing.
And I think एक quality control हो रहा है by doing it once a week. इससे ज़्यादा हो गया ना frequent. तो अब एक मतलब इतनी movies देख के हम review नहीं कर सकते. अगर हम लोग पूरा filmography ये क्या असगर फरहादी की 3 फिल्म के बारे में बात किया है. हाँ. We can't keep watching so many movies and then talking about it in one podcast, right?
Why not? चित्र वाले रोज स्ट्रीम करते हैं, right?
नहीं, रोज नहीं करते, but every other.
At one point they used to. And वो लोग ये बात करते थे कि आज क्या किया तुमने, जो I am sure a lot of people want to watch, but I don't want to tell.
Correct, because after a point, if
also we are 3, right? Chalchitra people have a little bit more people than 3. They have
Yeah.
lots
There's a
of
lot
people.
more. Yeah, there's a lot more. By the way, Sagar has said, oh yeah, that's what he said. He said your podcasts are better than your live streams, which is the older
Hmm.
pre-recorded ones. Maybe we should go back to that also
We
a
should
little.
go back
Maybe
to those.
a couple more, if we can just try to record the episodes and then just upload them instead of doing live stream. But live streams are really good for engagement in general. Like we get to talk to you guys that way.
But I don't know what was better in the podcast that's not here. I mean, just trying to
Bro,
understand.
we got a little drunk and then spoke shit. That was what was fun
Dude,
about the
the background of that podcast used to be that we went to Himanshu's house where he used to live alone, and then we drank a lot, and
And then we
and we
ranted.
spoke, and then we spoke for hours, and then I used to edit those actually. Those used to be like edited and shit. So a lot of the stupid shit like what Bharat said right now, that kind of stuff would usually get cut out.
yeah,
Okay,
right.
and that kind of stuff wouldn't appear on this channel. But you can bring on more creators for the channel for one more stream. अपन free है भाई. मैं वही पूछना चाहता हूँ ऑडियंस से भी कि अगर हम लोग ज्यादा स्ट्रीम करेंगे, लेट्स से ओके भारत नहीं करता, मैं कर लेता हूँ या हिमांशु कर लेता है, या हम लोग
But
कैसे भी.
that's what I'm saying. I can make up for it in terms of videos. So I'll make
Correct,
a video.
correct. So if would you guys like to would you guys watch more than one stream? Because I honestly I don't watch that much. Okay, I cannot. So I'm just trying to understand the mind of the youth today, because I have just gotten into my late 20s and it feels horrible. So yeah. और क्या कह रहे नहीं, रोनित सिंह सेड नहीं भारत भाई, नहीं जानना आपने क्या किया एक दिन में.
Good.
Good one.
Good.
Good
We
one.
know this
Uh,
social barrier. Good. We have this distance.
I think I'm done with movies, TV shows. I've already seen enough in my life. I watch live streams here just for validation. Wherever others like the movies, I already love. Whether others
Honor.
like the movies, I already love. Mr. Pink has said this. By the way, Mr. Pink, how many dude, do you like watch every Indian live stream that ever happens? I need to know, because I like long back, okay, when we had just started live streaming, I saw him on like some channel. I saw like a Mr. Pink commenting a lot on some channel, and then I saw some other channel और वो उधर भी आ गया था. And I'm just like, ये हमेशा ही दिखते रहता है क्या? What's the scene, Mr. Pink? What's your deal, man?
He's also not missed any of ours.
He's not missed any of us, which
I don't
feels
think
very
Mr.
nice.
Pink is one person. It's an account held by.
Held by all Steve Buscemi's, you know. Yeah, Jibin
I
has
think
said the
Ronit is
best.
not one person, I don't think Ronit is one person. I think there are lots of Ronits working with one account. Because जो भी movie देखो Ronit ने देखा है.
हाँ.
सब देखा है उसने.
या तो वो झूठ बोल रहे हैं. एक दिन ना मेरे को रोनित को पकड़ना है. रोनित will say that I've watched some film and then I'll be like, बताओ उसमें क्या होता. वो कैसे एंड हुई थी तेरा बताना. So that'll be funny.
एक तो यार I feel like I need to know how Ronit looks like. I need to know if he's a college kid or if he's older.
Yeah,
थोड़ा
see,
I
background.
feel like he's a college kid because in live chat it says his roll number. So
तो रोल नंबर तो बहुत पुराना भी हो सकता है ना. Like पहले भी तो होते थे रोल
हाँ.
नंबर. So you can't tell.
I am a college kid. Ronit has fulfilled your curiosity.
Oh, nice.
Yes. By the way, we have to, in order to allow membership button on our channel, we need watch time. Okay, we need watch time to increase to 4,000 in the last 4,000 hours in the last year, and we're getting close to that. So if any of you all can help us out, and if you have unlimited internet, तो अपने लैपटॉप पे हमारे लाइव स्ट्रीम्स का प्लेलिस्ट आप बस चालू रखो पूरा टाइम. So that will really help us out. So if you don't want to pay us by money, pay us by being a crazy stalker kind of a viewer, which would really help us out. मैं एक ही आदमी हूँ और हाँ कौन सी मूवी जैसे I don't know. Okay. I think at this point we can conclude this episode. Please comment who you think we should get on the podcast. थोड़ा realistic बताना है. हमें कोई मतलब Scorsese मत लिख देना comment में. But yeah, tell us who you think we should get. Tell us ideas for the channel if you'd like to see. If you see some of our older stuff, Bharat has made a video on Border, the film, the Sunny Deol film, and I made a video on Chandragupta Maurya. Himanshu has a lot of short films on this channel. So check those out, see what you think of them, see what kind of content you want more, and please tell us what you expect to see from us. With that, we can move to recommendations. What are your recommendations today, guys? Himanshu does not have any recommendations. Thank you for that. Bharat, what is your recommendation?
I was watching this last week when we did the podcast.
Hmm.
I have completed watching it, and I recommended it on my Insta story. It is called On Being a God in Central Florida. It's a single season on Sony Live, starring Kirsten Dunst in the main part. In fact, I started watching it for her after Power of the Dog, and she is phenomenal. But the show is great.
Hmm.
It got cancelled because of COVID, and I don't think it's coming back. It's about a multi-level marketing scheme
Hmm.
which becomes very, very successful and famous and scandalous, and how this woman beats the system. And it's kind like midway through it, it takes a turn for the surreal, and it metamorphoses by the end of it into like a typical Sriram Raghavan story.
Hmm.
So definitely watch it. One of the episodes is directed by one of the Daniels, who directed Swiss Army. Swiss Army Man, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's one of the most surreal 1 hour of TV I've seen. So yeah,
Cool. So that's what is it
on
called again?
on becoming a god in Central Florida.
On
That's it.
Becoming a God in Central Florida. Where do you watch it?
Sony Live in India. I don't know where abroad. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that my recommendation is a Japanese film on Netflix called Hainanol. I'll tell you guys the spelling in just a moment. No, Himeanole. That's Hymanol is the film. It's a Japanese film from 2016. It's about an ordinary man who plays matchmaker to his friend, only to realize the girl being pursued is being stalked. So it's a very creepy, serial killery kind of film. It's a bit of a thriller. Um, it's really fucked up. It has a lot of violence. It has a lot of sexual violence also. That's a trigger warning if that if that's something that you can't watch, because it's a little problematic also at times. But it's a Japanese. I mean, those of you who are used to Japanese films will know that a lot of them can get very very fucked up. So that's my recommendation. It's on Netflix. You can check that out. Just to mention some of the comments that have come in, please call Vineet Masram. Call creator Cinema Beyond Entertainment. That is Vineet Masram. Yes, we will try to get Vineet Masram. Maybe we can try to get him.
Acha, I do
And
I can recommend one thing.
Hmm.
Recommend one movie. I watched it. It's a Marathi movie. It came out in 2020, December of 2021. It's and it somebody had mentioned it in the WhatsApp group. Samraj had mentioned it. So it's called Kar Khan. I didn't. The name is difficult to pronounce. Kar Khani Sanchi Vari. Okay.
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 And the reason why I want to recommend it is not because of the story and all, because the story is damn good anyway. You don't need to. It's well made and well acted and everything. But the reason is it's a travel movie. It's like, and they're shooting it from Pune to a little interior into Maharashtra, and the visuals are like out of the world.
Oh.
It looks like it's not. You can't tell if मुझे लगा कहीं बाहर ही जाके shoot किया है क्योंकि ये you wouldn't see these kind of visuals, and it's way too amazing to look at. I don't
Kind
know
of
how
like
they did it.
Killa. Kind of like Killa, where they showed Konkan. Konkan is actually
Y-
really beautiful. Like,
Yeah, it's like Killa, but the thing is, there are lots of aerial shots because it's following a car and stuff, and it's unbelievable. Okay, where they are shot.
hmm.
I don't know how they got it done.
What's it called
So,
again?
Karkhani Sachi Wari.
I'll check it out. This sounds very interesting.
It's funny also. The movie is damn funny
Okay.
and serious, emotional, everything. Just watch it. You can watch it with your family. It's damn good.
Nice. कुछ नहीं
Okay.
मिला मुझे कारखानी वारी का, but ठीक है.
Wait. I'll send it to you.
Put it on the live chat, no, Himanshu? Just type it on the live chat.
Yeah, wait.
Any other interesting comments, by the way, before we log off?
Hymanol ka spelling Himeanole. I've also typed it in the live chat, so check that out. It's on Netflix. Please call Amit Verma if possible. Would love to see him on the channel. Yes, that we can try for. Yes,
Yes.
we'll try to get him. Any other interesting people? You can do. Rahul Mehti has said do top 10s of the year or by certain filmmakers, etc., people get excited by this shit.
That's
Thanks,
true.
sir. Yes, you're right. Thanks for your recommendation. Rituparna Ghosh may belong to category of Farhadi. Just think, you guys were shouting about Ray and Bengali cinema, and no shout out to Rituparna. Third time typing, padle bhai. Okay, sorry, Shaurya. I mean, God. Uh, but yeah, he's lover of Rituparna Ghosh. Shaurya has said Rituparna Ghosh.
I am.
I give a sincere shout out to Rituparna Ghosh.
I have not watched any of his films.
Easy है ना?
हाँ, his है.
हाँ.
Uh, but uh, but yeah, again, I've heard a lot about the films. I will definitely watch them and educate myself in
Same.
Bengali cinema.
I will learn Bengali. I will also learn Robindra Sangit. So yes, I will do all of that. Is Shaurya Bengali? I just want to know. Shaurya Pathak is not Bengali. Okay.
No, don't say that. They
What do you
can
mean?
be.
How
They
do
can
you?
be. Yeah, ho sakta hai, but I
Mr.
think
Pink has
can
said
be.
I will move to Bengal. Himanshu is fine with that as long as you don't move to Assam. Assamese people are apparently very sensitive about this stuff. Yes.
This is ठीक है छोड़ो.
Cancelled. Abhinav Sharma has said cancelled. भाई मैं रहता हूँ बंगाल में रोनित सिंह मत आओ.
Oh, dude, fun.
ये वैसे देख फरादी की बात करते करते हम प्रियादर्शन वाले उस पर ही आ गए देख कैसे भी करके. So Rituparna Ghosh tweeted he received your shout out. He is glad. Thank you, Eraz. Thank you for supplying.
Wait, did he die? Okay.
एक बार तो हमें करना ही होता है ना कुछ inappropriate तो मजे के लिए. So Rituparna is dead. No sensitivity can be expected on this channel apparently. So, yeah, he's just not even capitalized Rituparna or dead. Okay, so he's just said as a blasé sentence. We did not endorse any of those. And if you subscribe, then we'll stop talking like this. So all Bengalis should subscribe. You know the best part, if any Bengali is watching, they're seething right now, but they can't comment because they're not subscribed. So that's the best part.
गाली देनी है तो सब्सक्राइब करो पहले.
सब्सक्राइब करना पड़ेगा भाई. कमेंट में करोगे तो मैं डिलीट कर दूंगा. तुम्हें क्या मालूम, किसी को क्या ही मालूम पड़ेगा. So yeah, अभिनव शर्मा का बहुत ही डायरेक्ट कमेंट which I'm not going to read, but yes.
पैराग्राफ तो नहीं लिखा ना किसी ने.
नहीं.
Oh, dude.
Before we descend into full-on meme conversation, we should probably end the stream. But yes, thank you guys for watching or listening to this episode of the Discontent Podcast, episode 60. We'll be back next week with some more content, or maybe even this week, because last week we took a bit longer to come up with the episode. Watch out for more content, and also subscribe to the channel. By the way, Shaurya Pathak has said I'm from Darjeeling. Just clarifying everything. Brings a nice end. Shaurya, I hope you don't feel bad. I was just kidding. Everyone should assume that we are always nothing should be taken.
Darjeeling Bengal में ही है by the way.
हाँ. नहीं मालूम है मुझे.
मैं वही clarify कर रहा. Thank you, Himanshu. Thank you. Don't try to you northeasterns don't know.
Himanshu hopes it was in Assam.
Yeah. Dude, Bharat, this is how you get arrested, you know. This kind of shit joke is why people get arrested in this country. Next thing you know, there are riots, ban this content. So yes, thank you guys. There's just too many funny comments that I'm not going to read. But thank you guys for watching. We'll be back. And yeah, I'm just gonna end the stream